I'm Merryl, and this is What is Happening and Why Astrology, looking at global events and the astro aspects and transits with each moon phase. If you want Astro Geek on your specific sign, I'm putting out monthly forecasts at the beginning of each month. Remember to like, follow, share and comment, and thank you. It really helps my channel. There's a Leo full moon on the 6th of February. In Australia, it's on the 5th of February for most of the rest of the world. The moon's at 1652 Leo with the sun opposite in Aquarius. Leo full moons can bring out celebration and a joyousness. It can bring you out of your shell and telling funny stories. But being a full moon, it also reflects back the times you felt isolated or left out, misunderstood, not given the credit and admiration you thought you deserved. And I suspect there's going to be a bit of that going on with this full moon, because have a look at the chart. These red lines make Leo's natural place in the spotlight a bit off kilter. There's a bit of resistance and conflict that comes up over this moon phase. The pointy end of the stick is Uranus, down here in Taurus, making a T-square to the sun and moon. In this position, Uranus is making a very dramatic input to a couple of signs that are used to taking the starring role. This first part of Feb, Uranus is shaking up what you thought you knew, the plans you thought that were in place, and even the way you thought other people might react. It will shake your expectations. Leo moons can bring out fiery emotions and a lot of passion, and Uranus can have an effect of like pricking the bubble of all that inflation. It brings up a bit of excitement and anticipation, but also it's a conflict about where you thought you should be celebrated or where you felt you were just disappearing in the group. It puts a lot of tension and surprise reactions. You may be singled out for reasons you hadn't seen. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Ultimately, Uranus is bringing to light what's been bubbling away under the surface. And that's the theme of this full moon. Exposure, secrets, a bit of conflict, and potentially some shock around celebrity or social media influencers or superstars. The other thing for this moon is there's no retrogrades. So all the planets are acting true to form. So Uranus is behaving like Uranus, revolutionary, disruptive, blinding. Some illusion can be shattered over this full moon. We've got an indication of where that shattering might happen. Venus is in Pisces, and it's squared up with Mars, moving forward in Gemini. Venus and Mars are old lovers, but they run hot and cold. Venus is about love, peace and relationships, and Mars is about war, conflict and ejaculation. She's arty, he's sporty. When they're in this position, they squabble and disagree. It's definitely in the off phase of any on-off relationship. There's a clash of values and a clash of direction. Some stories that might come up during this are things like sports people showing their true values, like taking the knee, or in Australia, women's netball making a stand to respect Indigenous players. But this combo of Mars square Venus usually involves things like sex scandals, infidelities, and even stalky behaviour, sometimes a lack of consent. The influence of this only lasts a few days and it peaks around that full moon time. And in Leo with Uranus, this can bring out a dramatic exposure. So if you've got secrets, or if you're a macho bogan sports star, watch out. It's hard to hide irritations or make excuses with this sort of pattern. Jupiter's over here in Aries, and last moon it was conjunct Juno, bringing up commitments, big promises, and a sense of entitlement that was deserving. It was opposite Ceres, goddess of the crops, food supplies, cycles, seasons, and also someone with a bit of history on big contracts and negotiation. Jupiter is still opposite Ceres, so we know we've got this thing about needing supplies or giving nourishment to a place that always needs more, or where the need is really great, greater than what you can give. Ceres is in Libra, and she's also expressing Libra's sense of fairness and justice, a redistribution of wealth, taking care of the vulnerable, while politicians and leaders seem to take the lion's share. These two are now starting to separate, and so I would expect there's some resolution about equalising the needs of the people with how resources are distributed. In this atmosphere of scandals, it'll be things like corruption, perhaps where people and politicians made a ton of money out of COVID and exploited those limited resources. That's something that might come up for exposure as these two are moving apart. Juno's hooked up with Chiron now in Aries, and it means the commitments and the partnerships, the big promises made, can now synthesise with an alternative solution. For instance, Poland using German tanks to support the Ukrainians in the war against Russia, without necessarily needing a German okay for it. Solutions can be found without necessarily sticking to the letter of the law, but still within the bounds of what's legal. Leo full moons can bring out a really playful and joyous vibe, being a bit of a show-off, being a bit of a bossy boots. And this Uranus square definitely puts spontaneity into the picture. But watch off any chain reaction that comes out. If you're wholehearted and cool about who you are, you'll take this in your stride. But if you've been getting a bit stubborn, a bit righteous, a bit needy, you might find that life gives you a little jab and pulls you back down to earth. I'm Merryl Key, and this is my mystery school. Thanks for your likes, follows, shares and subscribes. You can contact me through my website www.merrylkey.com. Thanks for your support.